Okay. How you doing, Douglas? All right, how's everybody doing? Got a couple people coming in already. Douglas, Sprout, Rush, Lee, Willie, how you doing? My glasses on here, so I'm not squinting. It's a little bit better. All right. I hope the lighting's okay. Probably a little bit bright there in the background. Might be better. All right. So, I actually have a question for everybody. It's regarding a fuel system issue that I had a service call on this past week. And if you go to, there's a link at the very top of the messages here, at the very top of the, I guess, the sidebar. It's a private video that I put up, and it shows what I can only describe as like propane sludge in a vaporizer on a generator. And I've never seen anything quite like this before or quite this bad. Alan, when will the rolling be done? Well, I don't know. I'm working on it. I worked on it a little bit today, but I worked yesterday, so I didn't have a chance to make a video on that. But it's still working on it. How's your cats? Can you hear them? Oh, is that not a link, Lee? At the top it says, please watch this video, and then the second one down from that, maybe copy and paste that link. I'm going to try it myself. Copy and paste that link. It should take you to the video. And it does, yeah. So it's just a cell phone video. So it's a little shaky, and it's not the best. So, but I think it at least shows you what I came across. Okay, let's see. When are you getting back to the cat engine? Well, hopefully once the rolling's done, I can get back on the big cat. Howie, yeah, it comes from the chemical. Yeah, I've read that, but I don't know. It seems, well, I guess it could be. That oil, like that actual liquid oil, is from that chemical? I don't know. Alan, where can you find a decent hot bulb diesel? Now, they're not all that common in the United States. The only really hot bulb engines we had native, I think, were Fairbanks Morse. All the other hot bulbs were English built. Propane in winter? I don't know if it's a temperature thing. Douglas, yeah. Low cost propane, huh? Interesting. So anybody who's just coming in, go to the very top of the comments here, and I have a link. Copy and paste that link, and it'll take you to a video of a service call I was at this past week. Low cost propane. So you think it's a quality issue? So what I've been reading online is that it's a combination of things. It could be oil introduced into the propane just from the pumping action from one from the point of manufacture to the storage point to the distribution point to the final end tank. Oils from the actual pumps that pump the propane, and that collects in the tank in the bottom of the propane tank. What I have also read is that when the liquid propane is vaporized to a gas too quickly, the heavy ends, so to speak, so the actual petroleum, the heavy petroleum ends of that propane remain behind in the vaporizer, and then they collect. But this is such an extreme situation. I've never seen anything like that before. Pretty much, I had to replace everything, really. The liquid line, the liquid supply line to the vaporizer was clean. There was no contamination in there. So I don't believe the sludge is coming out of the tank itself. It's being generated in that vaporizer. Okay, I'm trying to read the comments here. Hang on. Cleaned easy with methanol, man. Okay. Just following, just catching up with the comments here. Hang on. Jim, it's at the very top. You have to scroll on up. Link is missing from the chat. Well, let me see if I can repost it here. Okay, see that link? Copy and paste that link into your search bar, and that should bring it up. Yeah, it was really odd. I don't know. Like I said, the one thing I did read online was that if you're running the vaporizer too hot, that sludge will tend to separate out of the propane instead of getting burned in the engine. So anyway, the unit got a new vaporizer. It got a new gas solenoid valve. It got a new gas regulator. Now, the solenoid valve and the regulator, they were on the outlet of the vaporizer, so they were on the propane vapor side. They were all sludged up as well, along with the pipe work. All the pipe work got replaced, just because it was going to take too much time to clean it. So what I ended up doing was in the coolant line that feeds the vaporizer, I put a ball valve in there and restricted it to about, I don't know, 50% open, in hopes that running the vaporizer a little bit cooler would prevent that heavy sludge from separating out and allow it to just get burned in the engine. I also increased the size of that drip leg too, just to give the customer a little bit more time, a larger drip leg, hoping that if the thing is not cleaned regularly, that it doesn't become a problem. Yeah. Sorry, I'm just going back through the comments here to see if I missed anything. Yeah, 8V92 engines are good. See a few generators with them, and larger engines, larger Detroits. Yeah, Sean. So, and that's what I thought. So, I've seen vehicles that have been converted to propane, and I wonder if they have a similar problem. I don't know. This is a fairly large, well, it's not, it's fairly large for a liquid propane generator, in my opinion. It was 75 kilowatt, which it was actually at a big residence, big rich person's residence. So, and they ran out of propane. The thing actually ran the propane tank dry a couple months ago, and then they refilled it. So I don't know, maybe they got a bad delivery of propane or what. So I don't know. It runs nice now. Once I replaced the fuel system and cleaned the actual regulating valve and the mixer out, it ran fine, carried a load without any issue. So I don't know. That's kind of why I'm doing this, to try to get a couple different opinions on it. What can we do to prevent it? Anything? Or does that drip leg just need to get drained, annually? It probably hadn't been drained since the unit was installed some 5 years ago, at least 5 or 6 years ago. I think that generator was installed, and I guarantee nobody cleaned that drip leg or checked it even. Okay. Kind of catching up again. Let's see. Did I save the sludge and have it tested? No, I didn't. I should have, though. I'll have to wait till it builds up again. Actually, you know what? I'm sure there's still a rag somewhere in the trash that has a big old blob of that on it. They'd probably get it off of that. Gasifier may be too small for the demand of the set. It could be. It's the vaporizer that came with the unit. It's a Cummins built gen set. So I'm not saying that means it's the correct size, but it's not like it was something that was just cobbled together. All right. How old is the gen, James? It's about 5 or 6 years old. Okay. Yeah, I mean, here you go. Natika, I guess that's how you say your name. Or Netica Net. So propane, or sure it's not vapor of engine oil. I don't see any way that would be possible. I mean, this is on the supply side to the engine. I don't think engine oil of any kind could get in there. All right, let's see. Seen it on oil field gen sets running 500 gallons a day. Yeah, it drops out of the odorant. So okay, thinking it's that. Could be. I mean, the stuff reeked. Believe me. I mean, it was a thick sludge, and it got all over your hands and all over your tools. The back of my truck smelled like it for the whole rest of the week. It was quite unpleasant. Let's see. Douglas, you think it sucked it up from the bottom of the tank? That's kind of what I was thinking at first, but the liquid supply line didn't have the coating that the vapor side of the vaporizer had. The liquid side was actually dry. Once I bled the line between the tank and the gen set, there was nothing in there. It was just a piece of copper tubing. So, let's see. Catching up here. Wonder if forklifts have the same problem. That's exactly what I was wondering. From Malta. Hello. Engine lever 1. Okay. Gino, where do I get the projects? eBay and Craigslist? Not so much eBay. Craigslist for sure. I've bought a lot of stuff off of Craigslist. Let's see. Wilco. Oh yeah, thanks for the little bit of information about the Rolene. From 1958 to 74. I believe my engine is a 64, so it's right in the middle of that range. Douglas you drain the drip leg more often. I'm gonna have to make it a point on the inspection sheet for that unit that drip leg gets drained. Okay. Hit Misfits. How you doing, Jonathan? Good. Thanks for stopping in. Okay, so we got a couple new people. Check out the links that are farther up in the comments. I'm not sure where I'm pointing here. I posted a link to a video, little short video of a service call that I went out to this week for the generator just would not run well at all. It was just surging, wouldn't carry load. Sometimes it wouldn't even start. So just scroll up, find that link, and watch the video. That's kind of what this discussion is about. Okay, where are we at here? Oh, sorry. 6500 4-cylinder flathead generator. How hard to convert it to house natural gas? Probably not all that hard. You just need pretty much a fuel mixer and a demand regulator. Now doing it correctly and doing it safely is different than just getting it running. So it actually takes a little bit of effort to make the thing run decent and be safe. Okay. Alan, I don't know if the odorant or the scent that they add to it could cause it. It could be. I would think that wouldn't be oil based, or at least wouldn't result in that. I really don't know. Yeah, that's what I had read and what I was thinking too. Nikita. I'm gonna say Nikita. Sorry. Yeah, compressor oil, or exactly from the plant where it was produced to where it was stored to where it was transported and then put in the customer's tank. I'm pretty sure that the customer's got a 1,000-gallon tank that was feeding that generator. But it was in the ground and I couldn't see the data plate underneath the little hatch, so I'm thinking it was a 1,000-gallon tank. So again, this is a 75 kilowatt generator, so it would suck down some propane under a heavy load. Yeah, Douglas, terrible stuff to deal with. Oh, it did smell. What engine was it, Braxton? The engine itself was a 1068 Ford, which is the industrial model. It's basically like the V10 engines that they use in pickup trucks. 6.8 liter V10, one of those modular engines that Ford has been making for the past decade or so. Wilco, okay, you check the drip leg. So on yours, are you running liquid propane through a vaporizer, or are you withdrawing vapor from the tank, from the propane tank? Because this is actually pulling liquid from the tank, sending it through about a 1/2-inch copper line to the genset, and at the genset is where the vaporizer is located. And the sludge was on the outlet of the vaporizer, not on the inlet. So the sludge is occurring in the vaporizer. So that's that's what I saw and what I had to deal with. Okay. Walter, what's up with the V8? I'm working on it. I worked on it a little bit today. I wanted to get a video up this afternoon, but I worked yesterday, so I didn't really get a lot of time this weekend to work on it. And it's funny, every week I say to myself, oh yeah, you know what, you should go out and work in the garage tonight. Get home around 5 or 5:30. But usually I'm beat from work. I don't have the ambition to go out and work in the garage during the week. Okay. Let's see. Catching up here. Let's see. At different grades of propane, I have no idea what grade of propane they were getting. I do not know. At the time, I didn't know there were different grades of propane, so I didn't even ask. Let's see. Tommy, how you doing? Over in Dublin. Wow. Okay. Seems to be organic stuff. Found pretty much the same thing inside a tractor diesel tank due to condensation. Could very well be. Somebody mentioned earlier that I should have taken a sample and have it analyzed, and now I'm kicking myself for it. I'm sure I can find an old pipe or something that's still laying around in the back of my truck and scrape some of it out of it. But I pretty much threw everything out as quick as possible because it reeked. Okay. Trying to catch up here. Sorry, guys. Hang on. Let's see. Ethyl mercaptan is what they use. Okay. Please talk about e-fuel. I don't know what e-fuel is. What is e-fuel? Is that batteries? It sounds like batteries to me. Ethanol fuel, maybe? Okay. John, yeah, I mean, I could put a valve in the drip leg. And the drip leg is 1 inch pipe, and the pressure on that side of the pipe is about less than half a pound of pressure. So I would just take the pipe cap off at the end and hope it would run out. I mean, the stuff was so thick that I don't think it's not going to easily flow through a small valve. You're probably just going to have to take the pipe cap off and almost rake the stuff out of the pipe. It's very common, happens all the time in forklifts. Okay. The only time I've seen anything quite like this was on another liquid propane generator, much, much smaller, but it wasn't this thick sludge. It was a little bit of oil, which I had assumed at the time that it came out of the tank, but nothing like this before. You Dizzy, how you doing? Yeah, liquid feed on larger sets work for the phone company. Yeah, it's not very common for me to see. I mean, I could count the number of liquid fueled propane generators that I work on one hand. Almost everything we work on is natural gas, actual vapor natural gas, and then some vapor propane. Daryl, I think it's coming just the oil's coming from the machinery that handles the propane. It could be. Yeah, Ron, I thought propane was just propane too. I don't know if there are grades. Somebody earlier mentioned that there's different grades of propane. Never heard of that before. Hmm. Okay. Yeah. What do we got here? Wikipedia. Wikipedia said something. Includes methane, ethane, propane, butane. Huh. Still think it's compressor oil. Could very well be. So that begs the question: is the tank full of that same sludge? That's kind of I'm thinking, well, is this tank full of this stuff? Is this going to happen again? But the fact that I didn't see it in the liquid line, I don't know. Kind of has me second guessing that. But on the other hand, since the liquid is coming in at tank pressure, which is presumably up to over 100 psi, is that enough to force it through? And I don't know. Will the liquid propane, that line, dissolve that sludge? So maybe it stays in suspension instead of coating the walls. I don't know. Let's see. Heating and cooling separates it out. Okay. Heating and cooling separating it out. That's what I read, Daryl, and I'm not sure. I'm going to say this again. So when I replaced the vaporizer itself, I put a ball valve in line with the engine coolant to the vaporizer, and I turned it to about half or 50% to kind of restrict the coolant flow through the vaporizer, because I read that, this is just reading on the internet, that if the vaporizer is being run too hot, it can cause that heavy kind of petroleum products to separate out of the propane. Versus if the vaporizer is run a little bit cooler, that stuff stays in in suspension in the vapor and is burned by the engine, which I don't know if that's any good either. Maybe it's better that it does separate out instead of going on into the engine. I don't know. I imagine it is. I imagine you wouldn't want that in your engine. Let's see. So Andy, you've got a Toyota 1500cc four-cylinder engine. Okay. And you see that. It just must be a fact of life when you're pulling liquid out of a tank to have it vaporized. Let's see. Had the pipe been cleaned previously? I don't believe so. And the gen set is probably about 6 years old now. So the whole system, the fuel system hasn't been touched in the 6 years because it was running fine up until a week or two ago. Let's see, how easy. HD5 and HD10, are they different grades of propane? Douglas, you think it's sludge in the tank? Could be. Problem is, it's what do you do with that? Like how do you go into the tank to check? I don't know. Can you clean a propane tank? What do you do with the propane that's in there? Do you take it out? You wouldn't want to waste it. You would just like flare it off. You'd have to pull it out. Commercial propane. Just reading the comments here. Any news on the big cat generator? Haven't touched it since the last video, Jared. So hopefully after the rolling generator, Royal Line generator gets done, I can get back on that. Silver bankruptcy. Yeah, I don't know. I always thought propane was supposed to be a clean burning fuel as well, but seems like it's not as clean as it's cracked up to be. They need to add an oil separator. Yeah. All right. Hank Hill would know. Yeah, I was thinking about that the whole time I was out there. Just picking up the comments here. Let's see. Yes, so the tank has a couple different outlets on it. The generator is pulling liquid from the bottom of the tank, but there's also a vapor valve on it, which feeds that feeds the propane to the house. So the house is gas heat and gas cooking, and I think they have a gas, fireplace insert as well. And that's all vapor fuel or vapor withdrawal. Let's see. Fix that tank, get a new supplier. Yeah. So they pump the tank, and I don't know. Do they put a solvent in the tank to try to dissolve that? I don't know. I almost think the tank might be fiberglass. When I lifted the hatch in the ground, there was like a standpipe coming out of the top of the tank, and it appeared to be fiberglass. But the bottom of the hole was dirty, so I couldn't tell if the tank itself was a steel wall. Maybe it's steel with fiberglass wrapped around the outside. I don't know. Very interesting, though. I'm falling behind again. Hang on. Let's see. Heavy ends. Yeah. It's in all the propane. Fixer of broken stuff. How you doing? That's kind of what I read, but just trying to get some different opinions here because I've never seen the contamination like this before. Okay. Ken, how you doing? Let's see. Annie. Propane 95% composed of a varying mixture of propane, 5% indeterminate other substances. Okay. Liquid feed is not at the bottom of the tank. It is off the bottom. Yeah, so it's a dip tube. When I think of liquid withdrawal in a propane tank, I think like a diesel tank. You know, the pickup is going to come. Well, typically the pickup comes in the top of the tank. There's a tube that runs down, say 2 or 3, 4 inches off the bottom of the tank. That's kind of what I was thinking. But if it's pulling up the sludge, and remember this thing did run out of propane, so my thoughts initially were that it ran out of propane, so the liquid level in the tank came down, but you still had, presumably 50 to 100 psi of vaporized propane ahead or above the liquid line, so that when the liquid got to the bottom of the pickup tube, that vaporized propane kind of rushed up the tube and kind of pulled up that sludge. That's what I was thinking initially. So what do you guys think about that? I don't know. The thing that gets me is there wasn't any sludge in the liquid line. There was only sludge in the vapor line. Oh boy, cats are acting up. Okay. Yes. So there's a vaporizer on the gen. Yep. Okay. Do you know if the tank was purchased new? I believe it was. It was probably installed with the generator. The house is 30 or 40 years old, and it was upgraded. The generator was put in only 5 or 6 years ago. I don't remember the date. Actually, I can look up the serial number. I have a picture of the serial number on my machine here. Let's see here. Okay, so it's 8 years old. 2012 is when it was built. So the gen set itself is 8 years old. Okay. Catching up here. That's why you don't cook with propane, Alan, okay? I don't cook with propane either. Let's see. Yes, so the vaporizer is an IMCO, Mr. Fixer of broken stuff. Yep, it's a big old IMCO vaporizer. Coolant running from the engine through it. Yes. I put a ball valve in that line to try to restrict the coolant flow to keep the vaporizer cool. Now, of course, the vaporizer has to have some, I know, the vaporizer has to have some heat, or else it'll turn to a big ball of ice when it's trying to run, when the genset's trying to run. So, but what I read was that there's a point where the vaporizer can actually be too hot. A lot of glare. Any better? Probably not. Let me sit back a little bit further. So what I was saying was I read that there's actually a point where the vaporizer can be running too hot, and those heavy ends of the propane or the mercaptan or the odorant or whatever can separate out of the vapor instead of getting burned by the engine, and then they collect there. Okay, hang on. Okay. Chris, the vaporizer is completely normal. Vaporizer tar is completely normal and is very dependent on the quality of the propane and where it is being supplied from. Okay. All the crud that doesn't vaporize. Draining the tar is a regular PM item on the forklifts, on LP forklifts. Okay. Yeah, I don't think it had ever been done in the 8 years that it was installed, to be honest with you. Good to know. Said I don't see that many liquid withdrawal systems on tanks. I really don't. So learning something here. This is good. Good stuff. replace that tank. Yikes. Yeah. It's not my money. I guess if they want to, if I tell them to replace the tank, they got to replace the tank. Okay. Do. Kami, difference between a bearing or a bushing? I don't know. What is, if there's a clear distinction, I'm not really sure what it is. Maybe is a bearing more precise than a bushing? Let's see. Engine running hot, new thermostat. Well, I don't know. The engine temperature was hovering about 189, 190, which those new Ford engines, they typically run pretty hot. I don't know what the thermostat setting is on those. No, no such thing as too hot of a vaporizer. Okay. Hmm. Okay, so I think it's from the lube the pump systems. So they put that oil in there purposefully. Okay. All right. So fix or broken stuff. Yep. Put a drip leg in after the vaporizer. Yeah, I don't know if sorry, I don't know if anybody that's new to the chat here. There, if you scroll up to the top to the beginning of the comments, I have a link to a video, a very brief video of this sludge that came out of the drip leg. The drip leg that was there was only about 2 inches long. I don't even know how they called it a drip leg, but I extended that when I repaired the fuel system or replaced all the components. I extended that to about, well, almost 18 inches. So the it'll have a much greater capacity now. Let me put it that way. Okay. James, yeah, you sure could. You could pull vapor off of the tank. I don't know why they didn't, to be honest with you. That it would mean running a much larger diameter pipe from the tank to the genset, which I think there's probably only 75 feet or so between the tank and where the genset is located, maybe even less, probably less. So, I mean, you'd have to run probably at least an inch and a half, maybe even a 2-inch line between the two, probably an inch and a half to allow enough volume of flow. But yeah, it would save you having to deal with all this extra gear. Right now, it's a 1/2-inch copper tube, so the inner diameter of the tube is only about that. You know. Okay. All right. Running a liquid withdrawal and vapor withdrawal in the same tank increases the concentration of heavy ends. Well, that's what they're doing. Okay. 8 years? Ouch. Why is that, Douglas? Acting up after 8 years? Okay. All right. Yeah, propane suppliers swear that there's no junk, nothing in the gas. Yeah, I don't know about that. Huh. Oh, look, I'm finally caught up here. Hmm. Yeah. So maybe purge the bottom of the tank. Could very well be. Could do that. I don't know. I don't think it's in the tank because the line. I don't think it's in the tank. Maybe I can close that blind because the liquid supply line was clean. There was no sludge there. It was only in the vaporizer. Yeah. That's one thing I forgot to mention, Mr. Fixer, broken stuff. Um, when you're pulling vapor out off of that tank, it's going to get cold. This tank is underground, but I don't know. That's probably not going to provide any real insulation. In fact, it might harm it in the hot months, which in the warmer months is where you're going to where this thing is going to be working the hardest because they're using propane for heat, but all the air conditioning is obviously electric, and power goes out. They're going to have a lot of AC running. It's a huge house, 75 kilowatt generator. It's ridiculous. Okay. Yeah, drain hasn't been opened in 8 years, Douglas. Probably not. I don't. I don't think. Well, I don't know who'd been servicing the generator. Who had been servicing the generator, but I don't know if you noticed in that video, the all the pipe work was covered in insulation. Like they had some issues running it, so they decided to cover the piping in fiberglass insulation and aluminum tape. So I had to cut all that off around the drip leg to drain it. So I'm gonna say it hadn't been drained in 8 years. Okay. Yeah, Kevin, you've seen the propane sludge, but they always say it's not from them. I don't know. Let's see. Let's see. What material is the pipe? The pipe that had the sludge was just black pipe, like the steel pipe with iron fittings. James, yeah, it could have acted as a filter. I don't know. That's another thing I was thinking. Well, maybe if the thing is pulling liquid and the sludge is coming up with the liquid, would the liquid propane act as a solvent and keep the sludge in suspension, and it only collected in the vaporizer when the propane turned to vapor? I don't know. Seemed like it seems possible, but I don't know. I might want to experiment with this. Okay. Let's see here. Okay. So fixer. Schedule 80 for liquid. Yeah, okay, so the liquid line is copper. I don't know the wall thickness. I didn't look that closely at it. I'm not really concerned with how that was installed. So it's half-inch inner diameter copper, or was it? Maybe it's half-inch outer diameter copper. I don't remember how they measure it, but small copper tubing, probably about that right there, outer diameter. So that's about a half an inch. I believe it was fairly thick wall because I did have to bend it around, and it was pretty stiff. But the low pressure out of the vaporizer is just Schedule 40 black pipe. Okay. Hang on, scrolling around here, making sure I didn't miss anything. Let's see. Douglas, thanks. Yeah, you'll definitely see more videos on the Royal line. I wanted to get a video of that up this weekend, but I just didn't have the time. Hmm. Let's see. URL tower. If you scroll up to the beginning of the comments, I have a link to a video. Click on that link and you can see exactly what I got out of the vaporizer. E-fuel is gasohol, so ethanol, right? Douglas, you don't allow liquid for or copper for liquid propane, huh? Seems reasonable. Let me repost that link here. Try that. For anybody that's coming in, this is the link that I just posted to a very short video clip of the day I was out at the generator, and this is what I drained out of the 2-inch long drip leg that Cummins had installed from the factory. Let's see. Yeah, schedule 80 all the way from the tank. That would make sense. I mean, what's propane tank pressure? 125, 150 pounds, something like that. I should have taken more pictures of what I did for the repair. I don't think I have any. I'm looking at this now. No. Nope, I should have taken more pictures and I didn't. So what I ended up doing was, I modified the fuel system a little bit. I put a Y strainer in the liquid line, which I don't know if that's going to help anything. At least it'll help particulate, maybe catch some particulate from going into the regulator or the vaporizer and the liquid solenoid valve. And then I also put a gauge with a valve on it so you can isolate the gauge, just so you have an idea of what the liquid supply pressure is to the system. Other than that, I just replaced the components that were heavily contaminated, anything that couldn't be cleaned. Okay. Okay, so you put the vaporizer above the IMCO mixer. Well, that makes sense. Hmm. Hmm. Mr. Fixer, yes, Governors America. I use them pretty often. What do you plan with them? I've used their controls on everything from little natural gas units all the way up to 2 meg units. So, what do you got? It's not cheap though. Their stuff's not cheap. Hmm. Yeah, Hit Misfit. You watched the video? Yeah, it was pretty ugly stuff. It reeked too. The back of my truck smelled like that all week. M dash. Oil and grease coming out could not come from the engine. There's really no way that I can see that it could have come from the engine because that's on the supply line going into the engine. So at the point I was draining it, just picture from that point a vertical run of pipe about 18 inches, a solenoid valve, a regulator, another maybe 18 inches of pipe work running horizontal into the electronic, I don't want to say it's not the throttle body, electronic fuel control valve, and then from there it dumps into the mixer, which is right ahead of the actual electronic throttle body. So there's no real way that could be any kind of engine liquids. Let's see here. Governors America, we already talked about that. Small Engine Nation, how you doing? Fat Dan, looks like contaminated propane. Could very well be. Let's see. Dan, I considered changing the channel name. You know, I have, but I think at this point it's ironically funny in my opinion. I really don't work on small engines anymore. So I actually kind of feel bad when I get comments or questions asking me about, modern small engines. I really haven't worked on a small engine per se in years. Only old stuff, only the antique stuff, which is kind of my hobby. Let's see. Yeah. Drip leg has never been checked, Monkey Man. That's what I would say. Downtime isn't cheap. No, it is not. Yeah, Douglas, gonna have to drain that drip leg pretty much every visit. Okay, just scrolling back now, make sure I didn't miss anything here. And thanks. I enjoy making the videos. Oh, what did I do here? But it does take quite a bit of time. Let's see here. Hang on one sec. I'm just looking something up here. Okay, sorry about that. All right, hang on. Fixer broken stuff. Yeah, carbon turbo or Century. That's who we get. Like carburetor diaphragms, solenoid valves, regulators typically come from either carbon turbo or Century fuel products. There's a couple other local suppliers. Like if we need a fuel regulator, we just get it from Granger typically. Solenoid valves just typically get it from Granger. Anything specific, we go to them. Which liner puller do I use? I made my own. They were too expensive. I'm kind of cheap. I'd rather make my own. Spend the time and make my own. Like the one that I used on the Cat was just two little of those mini hydraulic jacks and a spreader bar and a plate at the bottom. Let's see. James, the customer. Well, here's the backstory. So, the customer had the generator installed 8 years ago. It's a rich family, They really don't handle any maintenance on their own home. To be honest with you, the home is massive. It's ridiculous, and everything is delegated. So I don't know who got delegated the maintenance of the generator. that person sold the house, and the couple, or it's the couple that bought the house, knew they had a generator and pretty much called us up out of the blue to come and take a look at it. We're the local Cummins power generation dealer in the area, and they probably saw Cummins right on the side of the generator and said, "Oh, let's give these guys a call." So that was really our first time out there. First time out there, and the thing wouldn't run. Okay. Mr. Fixer, yeah, I do work for a company. Wait, the color just changed. The color of the light didn't just change with the. It's getting darker outside. Maybe I can turn this way a little bit. Okay, is that better? Probably not. Let's see, Mr. Fixer. Yeah, I work for a company. I don't own my own company. Okay, Bobby, can't wait to see the big V8 start up. Yeah, me neither. I'm excited. We're getting pretty close. I worked on it today. Hoping next weekend we'll get a test fire out of it. Dan, yeah, I could make a video of my talking about my background. I really don't like to talk about myself in that way. I don't like to sound boastful or anything, which even saying that sounds a bit weird. Let's see. Essex Hunter from the United Kingdom. JAP racing engine. Huh. That's interesting. That's a JAP engines, or JAP engines are not common over here. Does the gas transport company use a compressor to pump the gas in? I don't know. I've never seen the propane delivered to that site. Don't know. Okay. James, yeah. Fellow field tech. Yep. The field is an interesting place to work. You see all kinds of things. Yeah, interesting. All right. Let's see. Did I miss anything? I'm just scrolling back here to see if I missed any questions or anything. Okay. No. Huh. Yeah. The one point I did want to make is not to really complain or anything, but I got a lot of interesting comments on the video I posted up, I guess 2 or 3 weeks ago, of running that old hit and miss engine on propane. Got a lot of people letting me know what I was doing wrong. Some of them a little bit, I don't know. Some people I feel like they kind of really didn't understand what I was saying with the thing not running like I wanted it to. It was running like it should, other than the fact that I only wanted it to make one power stroke to get it back up to speed versus the 2 that it was doing. So I did get some helpful comments on that. So, but I guess that's all I want to say about that. Not trying to complain, just saying that man, some people can be really really brutal in the comments when it comes to things like that. Let's see. Start my own business and I'll never look back. Yeah. Everybody I talk to that has started or has run their own business, they either say it's been great or it's been horrible. Because it's been great because they've been able to make their own schedule and choose how the business was going to be run and make all the right decisions, and bad because it takes over your whole life and your life becomes the business, which I guess my life is already my business now, to be honest with you. So I work on generators during the day and I work on generators on the weekend. So, yeah. Okay, let's see here. Let's see. New customers recognize me from YouTube. Yeah, I've been recognized a time or two. Gone out to a site and somebody says, "Oh, you sound familiar," and pretty much have to say, "Oh, well, do you watch YouTube videos? Because I've got a couple on there." So. I figure out what was going on with that yet. I guess 6.4 Fab. I really haven't touched it since. Well, no, I've touched it once since the video. I started it up just for the heck of it one evening, just to listen to it run. And it initially ran this. I'm talking about the oil well supply engine. So it initially ran just like it was in the video. 2 power strokes, or really a miss, or a power stroke that didn't fire, and then a power stroke that actually fired and it got back up to speed. But then all of a sudden, without me touching it, it ran perfectly. 1 power stroke and it was back up to speed, and it was missing. It latched out and it was coasting. The speed would drop down, the exhaust valve would close, it would complete another power stroke, and it would come right back up to speed. It ran like that for 30 minutes. And then all of a sudden, it went back to its double sucking again. It's 2 intake strokes before it would actually fire. I don't know. I don't know if it was the way the wind was blowing or what, but still need a little bit of work. I think that the next thing I'm going to do with that is I built an accumulator out of an old. I'm leaning too close again. Sorry about that. I built an accumulator to go in the fuel supply line to the mixture valve. So what I'm going to do is add a second regulator coming from the primary regulator and drop the engine fuel pressure down and feed it into an accumulator. The accumulator is probably about, I don't know, 2 or so gallons, maybe 2.5 gallons worth of volume in an 1.25 pipe inlet and outlet. I'm going to get that as close to the engine fuel valve as possible, and then see how it runs with a reduced pressure but more volume available. See if that makes any difference. Okay, did a lot of yapping there. I got to catch up here. Okay. Thank you. Sounds like a governor issue or gas leaks. Yeah, it could be. All right, Fat Dan, take it easy. Yeah, Fixer, Mr. Fixer there. Yeah, that's big. Just a larger drip leg to kind of contain that sludge and drain it out every year. And hopefully that'll alleviate the problem. I mean, this was an extreme situation. It was to the point where that sludge and that oil was restricting the flow of the vapor. So I probably could have drained all that, and it might have started up and ran, but I kind of doubt it, because that sludge had infiltrated the gas solenoid valve, the gas regulator, and the electronic. I keep forgetting what to call this. Kind of the electronic throttle control, or the electronic fuel mixer valve. That couldn't even move. It was locked, so it really wouldn't have ran. It didn't need to come apart. So, all right, where are we at here? Yeah, Dan, it's nice to be able to leave work. Yeah, Jonathan W, how you doing? Yeah, been in business 25 years, worked twice as hard as if you worked a regular job. Yeah, I mean that's one thing that I've heard is all of the problems of the business fall on your head or on your shoulders. Whereas now, I mean, I deal with the problems in the field. I deal with the customers. You know, if there's an unhappy customer, I got to deal with them. If the thing is broken, you know, the machinery is down, I got to deal with that, plus the customer on my back about it. But I don't have to deal with the billing. I don't deal with the finances. I just do my paperwork and hand it in. the customer's got to pay the bill. I don't have to deal with bill disputes, which I imagine occurs more often than I realize. I get customers ask me all the time, "Oh, what do you think the repair's going to cost?" And I have to say, this is in the field at work. I have to say, I really don't know. I know how much time I need to do the job, and I have a rough idea of what the parts are going to cost the company. I know what the parts cost, but I don't know what the company's markup is off the top of my head. I don't know, what the labor rate is, because apparently that changes from, year to year, month to month, and depending on the job. If it's a transfer switch job, the labor rate is higher than just a generator repair job. So certain things I don't have to worry about. I just got to get the machine running, just go get the generator running and you're good. So I kind of enjoy that right now. Let's see. Let's see. Oop, went too far. Hang on. Back up. Can I scroll up and down here? All right. James, most of the generators that you see on this channel are just projects, really. It's just for my own entertainment and for the video's sake as well. There are a few that I do sell, but a lot of the older equipment just does not have a big resale value. Like the big V8, the Royal line that we're working on now. That really doesn't have a lot of value as a generator. It's interesting. It's an interesting engine. It's an interesting piece. And if you needed 140 kilowatts of generator, natural gas fueled, or you had some massive propane tank that you could fuel it off of, and you didn't mind a generator from 1964 that it's kind of hard to get parts for, it's perfect. But nobody wants that to power up an apartment building or a hospital. It's just not going to go that route. So most of them are just, I get them running. I have a little bit of fun with them. I try to learn a little bit, make a video or two, and they kind of just sit around here. Let's see here. Uh, 6-4 fab. Yeah, the accumulator. I'm hoping that works. All right, let's see here. Tim, how you doing? Tim Miller. Dan, that's right. Didn't like it when you turned up the pressure on the gas. Yeah, high pressure propane or high pressure gas is always a little, always gets a little more dangerous. I'm doing just fine, Tim. Thanks for stopping in. Colin, how you doing? Okay. I don't think I did. I don't think I saw that the engine that Jonathan's working on. Oh, geez, what just happened? Yeah, Douglas, the same thing. It's something to be said with you where you just have one job to do, and you get to kind of go home at the end of it. But at the same time, there's things I wish I could do differently. If there's things I say that, man, if I ran this company, I would do this. But we're not going to get into that. Let's see what else we got here. Bar B. Yep. Yeah, the sludge in the coming out of that pipes. I don't know. It smelled a little bit like gear oil, but a little bit like something else that I can't put my nose on. It smelled like propane. If you ever changed the bottle on a gas bottle on a grill, kind of smells like that. That little puff that you get when you undo the fitting. It smelled exactly like that. The odorant. Let's see. Mr. Fixer of Broken Stuff, I don't think there's any kind of remote monitoring on that tank. There's just a little gauge on the top. Now, I've seen the gauges that have a little potentiometer on the top with the 3 wires coming out to a transmitter, but I do not think they have any kind of remote monitoring there. Jonathan, yeah, it's funny because I pretty much am on call 24/7, 365 because I'm the lead tech right now at the company. So if there's any technical problems that come up, I pretty much have to be on call for the other guys. And there's a few customers. There's actually quite a few customers that just call me directly. If there's a problem, they just call me and say, "Hey, what's going on? Can you come out here?" So I kind of am on call, even though I get to come home and be away from the job. Let's see. Let's see here. Propane keeps the oil cleaner than either mineral-based oils. Yeah. Yeah, 6.4. Yeah. Yeah, one day at a time. That's it. Hank from the Netherlands. How you doing? It could very well be moisture. I don't know. I'd really like to get into that propane tank and see what's down at the bottom. Oh boy, scrolled too fast again. Here we go. Wizard. Onan gen sets have the serial number on them in place but the tag. Depends on what model you have, but typically the serial number is stamped on the engine block somewhere. There's usually a flat machine spot that has the serial number stamped in it. And from that serial number, you can pretty much find everything out you need about the unit. Okay. Douglas, thanks. Kevin, good place to find used oddball engines for sale. Huh. I don't know. I'm always looking for odd things or odd generators or odd pieces of machinery. It's funny. The best thing I can say is word of mouth. Just get it known that you're in that market, and the stuff will kind of find you after a while. Believe me. Craigslist is also a good one, and Facebook Marketplace. Apparently, I'm not on Facebook. I don't have a Facebook thing, but I've had people tell me that Facebook Marketplace, people put pretty much anything up there. Old machinery, old generators, old cars, whatever. It's all there. And I don't know. I'm not crazy about opening up a Facebook thing. I kind of think that's one of those evil companies, but I'm not a conspiracy theorist or anything. But I guess if you're only there for the marketplace, you're okay. Dubby, how you doing? Yeah, better health insurance when you're working for a company. That's true. Yep. Colin, you met Chris the other day, huh? From up in New York. Yep. Yeah, he stopped by a couple months ago now, pick up a couple engines and parts for a generator. Let's see here. What's the efficiency rating of the gen sets I'm working on? That's a good question, James. I really haven't looked too deep into efficiency. Really, on the old stuff, I'm not personally all that interested in it. But I imagine, like, if you were to compare the 140 kilowatt the Royaline powered genset that I'm working on now. That's 884 cubic inches, big V8, 9-to-1 compression ratio, 140 kilowatt natural gas. So we put in a 150 kilowatt genset to replace that one with an 8.3 liter engine, just turbocharged. Somebody can do the conversion. What's 884 cubic inches in liters? I'm really curious now that you said that. With higher compression engines, electronic fuel control, electronic ignition control, turbocharging, on a natural gas engine, I imagine the efficiency is quite a bit higher. Same with diesel too. I mean, think of the difference between an old Cummins, like an old 855 Cummins with the PT fuel system, compared to one of the new like QSK or whatever QSX engines, all electronic, high pressure fuel injection. I'm sure there are quite a few point increase in the efficiency there. Okay, enough rambling. Hang on, let me catch back up again. How you doing, Harry from Oregon? Okay. Buried tanks are supposed to have corrosion protection. Well, I guess if it's a steel tank, I would say so. What about fiberglass tanks? Anybody ever encountered a fiberglass propane tank buried underground? I don't know if this is fiberglass or not. Yeah, fixer of broken stuff. Heavily concentrated skunk juice. That's exactly what it was. Huh. Okay. Swap meets, yeah, good place to find stuff. Dan. Harry, yeah, no Facebook here. Is it possible that the antifreeze is leaking into the vaporizer? I suppose it is possible. I don't know what the internal construction of that vaporizer looks like. If there is a gasket or a seal or an O-ring that could have been leaking. I mean, the thing didn't appear to be losing any coolant. Well, I don't really have a history on it, so I guess I can't say it's been losing coolant or not. I mean, it was full of coolant when I got there. I don't know. It just didn't seem like. I don't know. I don't know if leaking coolant in that vaporizer would cause that issue. I mean, if you watched, let me post the link again because that was a little while ago. We put that up. So let's see here. Did that go through? No, it probably did. I just can't see it yet. Okay, where are we? Yeah, Facebook account just for the marketplace. Hang on now. Okay. Any more plans for the Witty? Well, not right now. I have a long-term plan for that, and it involves the other one that I have. So I've got two of those Witty diesel electric plants. They're identical. Two of the 8,000 watt plants. My grand kind of plan for those, which will take many years to realize, is to mount them both on a trailer and have a panel board, control panel between them, and be able to parallel them the old school way. I've got a big synchroscope, probably about 8 inches in diameter. Have a synchroscope, paralleling lights, and actually be able to have a load bank there, have one unit, bring the load up, start the other unit, sync them, close them to the bus, and apply load up to 16 kilowatt. That's a long ways down the road, but it's something that I've had in the back of my head for a while now. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, 884 cubic inches is 14.5 liter. Right. So the engine that we replaced that one with is almost half of or a little bit more than half of the displacement, but it makes 10 more kilowatt. So that probably says something for efficiency, huh? Now, longevity, on the other hand, I don't know. Well, longevity should be pretty good. The base engine for the unit that replaced the Royal line is a Cummins CT 8.3, the CT, the C series Cummins diesel, just converted to natural gas. So there's probably not going to be any longevity issues with that engine. Yeah, Douglas, fiberglass covering on a steel tank, is that a thing? I thought it was. Which, with the fiberglass coating, they might not need any kind of anode protection. Wilco, yeah, it's interesting. We actually have there's a guy, a Mennonite, out in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and he deals in used generators. And any gen set that we remove that I'm not particularly interested in, newer things, things that aren't particularly interesting to me, we typically sell them to him. He refurbs them, corrects any issues, and he has a market for them. I don't know if they go overseas. I imagine a good portion of them do, but same. I imagine that quite a few of them stay in the U.S. and are just sold to farms and things like that. Let's see. Yeah, it maybe could with fiberglass. That's what I would imagine. Let's see. It's weird. I wonder why they don't allow fiberglass for propane. I mean, they make fiberglass like high pressure oxygen tanks, right? It's weird that they wouldn't allow that for propane. Yeah, Fixer. There's a delay because I'm way back here and the comments are down here, so it's taking me a few minutes to get to them. So be patient. Dan, does my wife share the interest in engines? Yeah, kind of. She's not going to come out and work in the garage, but she understands the hobby. Okay. Yeah, analog synchroscope. Oh yeah, I should. Well, let's see. Where is that right now? That's not a place I can easily get to it, or else I'd go and grab it and show you. It's pretty neat, made by Westinghouse. Looks like a clock, big clock face with a needle that goes around. Let's see here. Up here. Chris, how you doing? You need a manual for an Onan 15 kilowatt. Well, they made about 100 different 15 kilowatt models, so you'll have to get a little bit more specific there. SE Fox. There are 30-pound fiberglass tanks that are regulated by the DOT. Yeah, I mean, those oxygen tanks that divers use, right? They're 2,000 psi in those, right? Sometimes more. Yeah, I mean, there's a demand for gen sets and for standby as well, not just prime power. So it a lot of farms, dairy operations, power goes down, they're in trouble. Wilco, the sludge looks green. What color is the coolant? The sludge was black, thick stuff. The coolant, I believe, is like the Cummins blue color. Could be, James. Sludge in the propane would eat the fiberglass. Might be. Hmm. Yeah, UV degradation. I didn't even think about that. That's a good point, Fixer. How you doing, Peter? Colin, yeah, thanks. Yeah, in the back of my head, that would be neat. I don't know if I would want to mount them on a trailer, mount the two Witties on a single trailer, or just have two separate carts like I have now, where it's on kind of an old timey looking engine cart. I think that might be better. I mean, it would be more effort to take to a show having to load up the two different carts and the control panel, but that would allow me to just take one to the show if I ever wanted to. Let's see. Dan, take it easy. Colin, let's see. Yeah, hopefully Jacktown goes on next year. Let's see here. Anything. Okay, so it's a 15 JC. Yeah, so manuals for that can easily be had. Hello. Okay. Let's see here. Oh, sorry about that. Falling behind again. Yeah, 15 JC. I mean, you could, if you just Google that, owning for a manual for a 15, owning 15 JC, you'll probably come up with something. I can post a website in a few minutes, and it should have your manual there. Let's see. Ford GPW, 1942. Let's see. So how is that you convert a diesel to strictly natural gas? I don't think you can. Oh, you're talking about like the one that we installed there. Well, you have to change the pistons out. You put lower compression pistons in it and remachine the cylinder head to accept spark plugs instead of injectors, and there you go. You've got a diesel engine that runs on natural gas. Cummins does it all the time. Well, geez, everybody does. Cummins, Caterpillar, Ford. Ford with the gas engines, you'd want to increase compression a little bit, but pretty much all you have to do is decrease the compression. Sorry, hang on. You got to decrease the compression and add some spark plugs, and you're good to go. And of course, the whole propane and natural gas fuel system as well. Okay. Yeah, James, there's gen sets everywhere around here. We're in New Jersey. Almost every commercial building has a gen set. Even restaurants have gen sets sometimes. But you're talking office building, medical center, outpatient surgery center. Well, there's the huge residential market, municipalities, uh, government buildings. Well, I guess it'd be municipalities. All the pump stations for the sewer systems, the freshwater pump stations, all have generators. Everything's got a generator around here. Let's see. Yeah, Colin, two separate carts would look better. I think so too, than mounting it just on a big trailer. Yep. You need to think of propane as a solvent, like lacquer thinner. Yeah. Okay, so if propane is a solvent, you'd think that the sludge wouldn't really collect at the bottom, right? It would stay in suspension, or maybe not. I don't know. It was, it would stay in suspension until it got to the vaporizer, which then it would fall out of suspension. Let's see. All right. Wife just said wrap it up. Well, she's on the phone with her aunt, so just wanted to let me know. Okay, the dogs are running around outside. Let's see. What were they doing in the background, Wilco? They were sawing concrete blocks or something like that. I don't know. Making a lot of noise. Yeah. Yeah. It's just going to be a maintenance item from now on, having to drain that drip leg. Yeah, M dash. So that would be a biofuel engine where you're predominantly burning natural gas, but you use diesel as the pilot fuel, as it's referred to. But I mean, that's a biofuel engine, whereas the unit that we installed to replace the Royal line is a strictly a natural gas fuel. It's got spark plugs, it's got a mixer, all that stuff. But you have to lower the compression ratio to burn natural gas. Yeah, Peter, I should have saved a little scoop of that sludge and had it analyzed. James, yeah, the customer is under contract now. I believe they signed a contract. Probably a good idea. I mean, a 75 kilowatt generator, that's a pretty large investment for a house. So you need to take good care of it. But I mean, it's not their fault that it sludged up like that. Whoever was doing the maintenance previously just wasn't familiar with it. Like me, I wasn't terribly familiar with it. I see drip legs on natural gas gen sets all the time that are 50 years old that have never been opened. But you don't get that in natural gas. You don't have a vaporization point. It comes to you as a vapor already. Just scrolling back to the comments. Give me a sec. Dwight, you have the same type of sludge on a corn dryer, huh? Yeah. I imagine that must use a lot of propane. What size tank do you feed that with, Dwight? Yeah, I mean, like I think there's either a five. Well, the customer wasn't on site. The contractor was when I was out there for the repair. Um, the contractor said that there's either 1,000 gallon or a 500 gallon tank that's buried underground, which is a pretty big tank. Let's see. Fixer. I do work on the home standby generators once in a while. Not very often. We don't have that many of them under contract, to be honest with you. Ironically, I do have a service call on one tomorrow after my first job. Some little Generac, I think. Apparently, it's going into speed sense fault, something along those lines. So, got to take a look at that. The last Generac home standby I went to that had speed sensor lost, the generator had blown apart, like literally flown apart. The windings from the rotor ripped apart and took out the stator. It was a mess. So I'm hoping for the customer's sake, that isn't the case tomorrow. But I don't typically work on a whole lot of home standby stuff. Now, I say that, but at the same time, I just recently brought home a home standby Cummins, like a little 20 kilowatt air cooled thing, and I want to make a video on that. That has an interesting problem, and I think it might make it for a good video. Okay, where are we at? Yeah, KD, that's could very well be the stink juice they put in that propane. Okay, Colin here. I'm going to repost this link. Watch this video. Okay, watch this video, Colin, that I just posted, and it's a generator that had a service call on earlier this week. Okay, yeah, Dwight. So I'm glad that you said that, and that's what I have read it's what I read online after I encountered this problem, is that if the vaporizers run too hot, this sludge will separate out from the propane vapor instead of getting burned by the engine. So what I ended up doing was I put a ball valve in line with the coolant, with the engine coolant line to the vaporizer, and I choked it to about 50%. So now the load on the generator is not particularly high, and it wasn't particularly cold out that day either. So, it's yet to be seen whether the thing is going to ice up under high load or not. It's something that we're just going to have to be playing around with. Let's see here. Catching up here. I'm catching up. 1,000 gallon on the dryer. Huh. Yeah, that's a lot of propane. Huh. Frost the tank fast. Yeah. Wow. I can just imagine 1,000 gallon propane tank being frosted over. Let's see. Huh. James, yeah. Not a fan of Generac, huh? Neither am I. Oh, hi Dan, how you doing? Did you get your unit running yet? Roy, a good filter is needed. Where would you put the filter at? I mean, obviously you would have to go on the outlet of the vaporizer, but I imagine it would become plugged up. I mean, that sludge. What kind of filter is going to hold that? Yeah, it would have to have a huge surface area. Mr. Fixer. So my load bank goes up to 30 kilowatt, the one that I have in the garage. So that's the military surplus load bank up to 30 kilowatts. Peter, natural gas, gasoline to natural gas conversion reliable for generators? Yeah, I would say they are. I've never used one of those kits. I usually just kind of make up my own for smaller units, but it seems like they're not the safest thing. I think those little kits, they lack a solenoid valve to lock off the fuel in case the generator stalls. So, or in case the engine stalls, rather. There may be better kits out there, but I wouldn't recommend that anybody just try to throw one of those on a generator. You know, that'd be a good video topic someday, doing one of those little conversions. Nash guy, how you doing? Let's see. The Cummins 30 kilowatt home standby gen sets. You know, I've actually worked on a few of those things, and they actually, that same gen set, oh, hang on, I lost the comment. That same gen set they use in a commercial setting, and they're pretty nice. I can't think off the top of my head of a problem we've had with one of those. I think they used a little 2.4 liter Mitsubishi engine in those, and they're just smooth running. They're quiet. Uh, they're completely electronically controlled, which is a bit of a downside. But if you're okay with that, they seem like a good generator to me. Stanford generator end, so really you shouldn't have any problem with the generator end or the engine. The controls are the only thing that I'd be a little worried about. Not that Cummins controls are bad, but if it needs anything, you need the software to really change much. A couple things you can change from the front panel, but if you really got to do any serious diagnosis or diagnostics, you kind of need the software to get into them. Let's see. Propane generators on the barbecue tank need to worry about sludge. I don't know. That's a good question. I would say that they do not. You don't have to worry about sludge because barbecue tanks are vapor withdrawal. So any sludgy stuff is going to stay in the tank since you're drawing straight vapor out of the tank. Anything in the vapor should stay in the tank. Oh boy, our puppy's in the crate wants to come out. I don't know if you hear her crying. Hang on 1 sec. I'll be right back. Let me just let her out of the cage. Okay. I'll be right back. Say hi. Come say hi. Come on. Come here. Come say hi. Come on. Come on up. Up. Come on. What are you doing? What are you doing? Come say hi. Hi. Say hi. Say hi, Stevie. Hello. Yeah. What are you doing? Hello. Say hi to the tubers. Hello. Okay, hang on now. Let's see. Generac makes me a lot of money. Yeah, I bet you they do, Mr. Fixer. Nothing but service calls. Let's see here. Overbuilt Automotive, thanks for subscribing. Let's see. Yeah, doesn't look good, does it, Colin? Okay, James, yeah. 13 kVA suitcase load bank. That's pretty nice. Okay, yeah, sediment trap. I put a Y trap in the liquid line, Roy, just to help. I don't know if that's going to do much. Okay. Yeah, Mr. Fixer. Yeah, you always need a bigger load bank. So my 30 is pretty good, but if I need anything bigger, I have to borrow them from work. We've got half a dozen 100 kW suitcase load banks, and our trailer load bank is good for 1.2 meg. So I got load banks available, but the biggest one I own is the 30. Let's see. Yeah, Sludge probably had some water in it. All right, down, go. Go bug the cats. Okay. Yeah, Dan, still working the problem, huh? Yeah, let me know how you make out with that. It shouldn't. I wish I could come up there and have a look, but a little bit far away. Okay. Yeah, Overbelt, you got to really think it out. Interesting. So if it's fracked, if the fuel gas is fracked, it could have heavier components in it. That's interesting. Yeah, you need to have a load bank for stuff like that. The fixer. That's the only way you're going to know if your fuel supply is good. Ninja, how old's the puppy? She's about 6 months. Let's see.
Is in the video?
Yeah.
Come on, Sus.
You're doing all right. Yeah, Douglas, you have the same unit probably that I have. So it's 20 ES, something like that, Onan, with the little Ford, whatever they are, 2.4 liter engine. They're pretty good. Nice and smooth. Okay. Mr. Fixer, take it easy. Thanks for stopping in. Yep. Yeah, the IMCO or the Garretson regulator is perfect for those small gen sets. I think they even make a Garretson that'll handle up to a 30 kilowatt gen set. William, how you doing? You like the dog better, do you, Monkey Man? Yeah, first, last, you had a coolant leak in it for 10 years or on a forklift. Yeah, it seems like they don't ever get much love, forklifts. All right, take it easy, James. Thanks for stopping in. I finally caught up with the comments. That's pretty impressive. So you think it could be something part of the production process? So there's a difference between pure gas-based liquid natural gas versus if it was fracked. That's interesting. Read comments on the oil field supply. Why is that, William? I got a lot of comments on that video. Some of them helpful, some of them just rude, I guess you could say. But people are trying to help, I guess. And I feel like some people on that video they didn't really get what I was saying. I guess I didn't explain myself very well as far as what I wanted the engine to do. Don't try to run vapor when the temps get in the 30s or below, 30 below or colder. Yeah, you're not going to vaporize propane at that temperature. Fracked does sound dirty. Yes, it does. Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to go with just drain the drip leg every year, and live with it. Yeah. Yep. Just yep. Let's see what else. Yeah, Cat Gem was your favorite mechanics. Yeah, yeah. The cat's one of those projects that I really I'm glad that I was able to get that unit. Even though it's going to be it's been a long project and it still is not done, and it's going to be pretty costly. I was happy to get it and have the chance to own it. So yeah. Well, I guess that's gonna wrap it up for me. Uh, Thanks everybody for commenting and giving me a hand, giving me the opinions on that fuel problem, that propane sludge. Um, let's see. Yep. All right, everybody. Thanks for stopping in. Hopefully, next week we'll get a video of the first start on that V8 Royal line. So I'll catch you all then.